question I get in the comments all the time, or if I'm speaking at an event, are, Colin, how do I do performance pay? And so let's just break down a few different ways that you can do this. I'll start with how I do it most of the time, and I'll give you a couple other ways that that it could be done as well. So how I do it is we do a percentage pay. So let's say let's just do really even numbers. We pay our truck 10% of the job. All right, so we'll do job slash revenue. All right, if the job total is $5,000, we're going to pay the technicians 10% of that. So that 5,000 times 10% is $500. All right, easy enough on that. So how we do this, how this breaks down, is our average ticket in the gutter space is about $4,500. All right, so we got $4,500 average ticket, and that job takes usually like 3.5 to 5.5 hours. So let's just call it 5 hours, all right? And we'll call that 5 hours there. All right, so $4,500 in 5 hours. Now, my trucks right now are working 4 10-hour days, all right? So they'll do 2 of these jobs in 1 day, all right? So times this by 2 for a total of $9,000 in revenue for the day. All right, we times this by our 10%. That means my truck for the day gets $900. Simple enough, right? Makes sense? All right, so of that 900, this is where things get a little bit different for how I do it versus how people think that it should be done. People think, okay, well, you got 2 guys on your truck, $900, we split it both ways, it's $450. Okay, yes, that is a way that it could be done. I don't like doing it that way. So let me tell you why I don't like doing it that way. All right, so we're gonna carry that $900 over. All right, so $900. I don't like doing it that way because there's no incentivation, if that's a word, for both guys, either one of those guys, to become the crew lead. They're both making the same amount of money. So if Sam and I are on the truck, Sam can ride my coattails because I kick butt. I'm an awesome gutter installer. I'm whatever it is you do, right? I'm really good at it. Sam can ride my coattails. I can do twice the work that he does, but we both make the same amount of money if we just split that evenly. So how we do it is only our lead guy is performance pay. So now you're thinking, oh wow, you just paid the lead guy $900 for that day of work? Not quite, all right? So we hire our helper, and our helpers, we always hire them at an hourly rate. For us, we do 3 weeks at $18 per hour. All right, now where we live, that's a good living. If you live in LA, that ain't gonna work. You ain't gonna be able to get anybody for $18 an hour. So I shouldn't say that's a good living. Like that's a good like entry level wage. All right, fair enough. So we pay $18 an hour for 3 weeks while they're learning. And then after that 3 weeks, we reevaluate. So one of my more recent ones went from $18 to $22 an hour. He's a 21-year-old kid. He was like, whoa, let's go. Sweet. I'm happy. So let's say our helpers on average make $20 per hour. These are entry-level positions. These are people with no experience in what you do. They're learning, all right? So it's not that we want to start them low, start them fair, but there's room to increase this. But the real goal is that they want to become the lead guy. So if a helper is working 20 hours, and I told you we work 4 10s, all right? So times 40 hours, they're making $800 a week per week. Sorry, it got really small there, ran out of space. All right, so that's how that works out. But in an average day, if they're working 10 hours, all right, that's $200. So let's jump back up to here. So we do 9K per day, and then we times that by 10%. That leaves the 900 to truck. Well, we just figured out our helper makes $20 an hour. They worked a 10-hour day. So from that 900, 200 to helper or apprentice or whatever you want to call them. All right. That leaves 700 to lead. You following with me now? So instead of splitting it, what this does is this helper, he gets to see these numbers. He's like, holy crap, man. Like, my lead guy is kicking my butt. He's making a ton of money. It incentivizes them to want to become a lead guy and run their own truck, right? But also, it gives our lead guy a little bit more control. If his helper is sucking and crapping the bed, he can be like, hey, yeah, I want a new one. Okay, cool. We'll replace him. All right. It works that easy. If his helper's kicking butt and he's like, hey, I don't want to lose this guy. Like, he makes my life way easy. I want to bump him to 25 to 30 bucks an hour, whatever. He can, right? So if this was 30 bucks an hour, now this just becomes 300 and he makes $100 less. He still makes double what his helper's making. He's happy. If Sam's my helper and he's amazing, making my life way easy, he's doing all the hard stuff and I get to run the machine and whatever else, that makes sense for me to make 600 bucks. Check his work, make sure it's done right. Now, you might say, Colin, that's not very fair, right? Like, there's no way that the lead guy's doing that much more work than the helper to make 3.5 times more than him on that job. Well, the lead guy doesn't get paid if we have to go back to these gutter jobs, right? Now, they get paid initially, but they don't get paid hourly on the callback. They have to go back and service it themselves. It creates a mini business owner where the lead guy now is checking the helper's work and making sure it's done properly and done right the first time. If it's not, now lead guy has to figure out his business and say, hey, you know what, helper, I'm dropping you off. You get a little less hours this week. I'm going to go back and fix your crap on my time because I don't want to pay you for that, right? Now, what can't happen here, there are legalities around this, all right? This pay to the lead cannot drop below minimum wage. It should never, all right? Like, unless your crew really, really, really sucks, it should never be even close to dropping below minimum wage. And two, your lead can't withhold pay to your helper because they're making an hourly rate, all right? They're not on the same agreement. So now you're saying, well, so the lead guy's in charge of like payroll for the helper? No, we still track all the hours. We still manage all that. We still do the payroll, all of that. But the lead guy does have say in how much money he makes. Now, it's not like hey, yeah, today he wasn't worth crap. You know, he only gets 15 bucks an hour today. Like, you don't get to change it every day. This is like every 6 months when we do our reviews, when he can bump him up. Or if helper's like, hey, yeah, dude, I'm getting other job offers and I can make more money, lead guy can then bump him up. But decreasing pay, honestly, if we're going to decrease someone's pay, they're getting fired. Like, that's just the way it goes. It's very, very hard to demote someone and have them actually stay around and be an asset to the company. So lead guy gets to become a little bit of a business owner and he owns his installs, all right? So that's how we run our performance-based pay. How some other people run it. And so this works well for us because we're mostly retail, all right? All of our jobs are sold pretty much same pricing. Like, there might be a military discount or something like that on one, but for the most part, it works out really well. And you might say, well, 10%, Colin, like, you're making money like a lunatic and paying these guys nothing. Nah, you don't understand business, all right? Well, that's a whole nother video. So what some people do is they pay, like in the gutter industry, we pay per foot, all right? So we'll call this a per foot price, per foot pay, I guess. We'll do that. All right, so per foot pay, and what this looks like is no matter what the job was sold at, the technicians know how much money they're making. Where this is really beneficial is if you do a decent amount of retail work, say you sell your retail work for $16 a foot, then you also do a lot of subcontractor work where you're working for roofers or builders or whatever, and you sell that for 10 bucks a foot. That last pay scale I showed you, your techs are gonna get really pissed. They're gonna be like, why am I doing the same work for almost half the pay? This doesn't make any sense. And before you know it, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm not doing any more builder work. And you're like, crap, now I'm in a pickle. That's where paying by the foot could be beneficial to you. So let's just say you pay your truck $2 per foot. All right. You pay the truck $2 a foot. They go out and they install whatever. Let's say it's 1,000 feet in a day for even numbers. All right. So times 1,000 foot equals a 2K payday. That's a little bit extravagant, just so you know. Like, there are crews that can hang 1,000 feet in a day, but they're not getting paid $2 a foot. All right, these guys are showing up and doing big DR Horton, Pulte homes, all those where they're showing up and they can do like 6, 7 houses right in a row, and they're ripping off 1,000, 1,500 feet in a day. But it's like bam, 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 and they're all right next to each other. They ain't getting paid that much, all right? But let's say for even numbers, truck's getting $2,000 a day. That's how that works. Now, how that can be split up, you could do it how I just said, where the lead guy gets this amount and we still have the helpers that are paid hourly. We could do it that way. Or what a lot of guys do is they take that and they split it, right? It's 60-40 or 50-50 or however, right? Pay per foot is really beneficial when you are selling jobs at different prices. Now, if you're selling jobs at different prices, I'd love to have a conversation with you on why you're selling jobs at different prices. Like, if we have to be doing something like this, it doesn't really make sense for the business. If you're willing to charge $16 a foot to your retail customers, but willing to sell it for 10 to your contractors, it doesn't make sense. You're not saving that much money to be offering that big of a discount, all right? Even if, I don't have to pay a commission, you're not paying a $6 a foot commission. I guarantee you're not. If you are, cool, I'll come sell for you. But I've never seen it before. So you're not really saving that much money. So why are you giving that big of a discount? Anyways, whole different video on that one. But pay per foot, all right? This is a way that you can do it as well. Now, there are a million other ways that you can do performance-based pay. You can have like a sliding scale. If you do garage doors, you get paid this much per set of springs and this much per roller. Like, there's all sorts of different ways that you can do this. You could also do pay per foot plus pay per miter, pay per downspout. Like, there's a million ways that you can do this. And when you pay per foot, that's something you need to discuss. Is it per foot of gutter? Do you get $2 per foot of gutter plus $2 per foot of gutter guard plus $2 per foot of downspout? Is that how you're going to pay, right? What makes sense, what doesn't? Because that could get pretty crazy. So there you have it. This is a quick breakdown on different ways that you can do performance-based pay and get away from the hourly. All right, I'll do another video on the benefits of performance-based pay versus hourly, but this video was just to break down the number one question I get. How do you do performance-based pay? All right, people don't ask why. People ask, how do you do it? Here you go. All right. Hopefully this helps for you. This is all broken down with like easy to configure Excel documents and things like that inside of Gutter Launch. So if you want it done for you, holler at me and love to get you into our community. All right. See y'all next time. Win bigly.